Welcome, everybody, to Saves Together, the podcast about playing games together, whether that means co-op or passing the controller back and forth or just playing the same game at the same time. It doesn't matter how, it only matters that it's together because...
When you save together, you stay together.
I'm Craig McGowan.
I'm Grace Novak.
And this is episode 63.
Monster Hunter Rise.
That's right, Monster Hunter Rise. You probably already know if you've been listening for a little while, or if you look at our website, you probably already know where we're going with this. So if you don't want to hear us be like just totally loving this game.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that.
If you don't want to hear that, go away now.
It's gross.
It's disgusting. I'm sure we'll have some things to say, but you know what I mean.
I have all kinds
if you're
of
trying,
bad
if you're
things
coming
to
here and be
say.
like, do you think they liked it? Yeah.
Don't
yeah,
worry,
we did.
I'm going to hate on it just to make the
dilemma-
haters happy.
The dilemma is, and obviously we're only in April, but the dilemma is, do we make this our game of the year if we already had a very similar, you know what I mean?
Already
World.
very similar what?
World was our game of the year.
I mean, it is what it is. That's
So-
how I see it.
Is it okay if which is
It's okay.
roughly the same game?
It's not the same game.
It's not the same game, but it's the same game. You know what I mean?
It's a better game.
We'll get there. Ooh, now you're interested. You see what I did there? I shucked them away and I brought them back. That's the old
who's
shuck and
interested?
hook.
Me? Now I'm
No,
interested.
the listener. They're like, wait,
Mm,
it's different?
It's a different game, so
Hey,
it's
I'm playing
okay
with
to
this
call it Game of
koosh.
the Year.
Do you think it's picking up on the microphone? I guess I should stop.
Yeah, you would probably be mad at me if I was doing it.
Probably
so.
would be. That was the inside baseball. That's not really inside baseball.
It was the key fob.
What?
The wrestling thing, key fobs.
Kayfabe. That's not kayfabe. Nothing about that was kayfabe.
That's not a key fob at all.
I guess it'd be, if I didn't reference it, I guess sort of. Anyways,
I know things.
we're not going to talk about Monster Hunter Rise just yet. We're going to keep you on the shuck and hook.
I don't like that.
And first, we're going to talk about what we've been playing by ourselves in our solo time. So, Grace,
Well, listen.
you're not allowed to say that you've been playing Monster Hunter in your solo time.
I wasn't going to. I was going to talk about nail polish, then I decided I shouldn't. Sometimes, I just get the feeling to go off on a tangent about stuff. And
I think you should.
I do. I don't
You
even
never
have
know
a
who's
tangent to
listening.
go on.
You never know. Someone out there might be like, I wish I knew a good hollow taco.
Oh, well, let me tell you about Hollow Taco. I don't want to be a brand. What do they call it in the games industry? A shill? I hate that word.
That's not a
Anyway.
games industry thing. That's just being a shill. You can
Check
be a
out
shill for anything.
hollowtaco.com.
I think it's okay to shout out brands on a small
Yeah.
podcast like ours. Now,
Sure.
I get it. If we were making actual ad money, like if we had actual
Hollow
advertiser
Taco, feel
deals,
free to sponsor us because you definitely have so much to do with video games.
you definitely are listening, you nail polishers.
She has a nail polish podcast, so
Yeah, but
fair enough.
why would she listen? You should be like,
She
you think
wouldn't.
she plays Monster Hunter Rise?
Definitely not.
Who are we talking about?
We're talking about the Hollow Taco CEO and founder, Christine from Simply Nailogical, who's been one of my favorite nail vloggers. She's the reason my nails look the way they do, in that they're healthy now and longer.
And impressive. They are impressive. I
They-
gotta say,
thank
I respect
you.
your nail game.
I respect. That's what I deserve. It's what I deserve, people. And listen, if you are interested in having great nails, you should check her YouTube out. But also, she started her own brand, Hollow Taco, because she loves the holographic nail polishes, and it's great. It's good quality. It's well priced. I just got 2 new ones, so I was just excited about it.
Look, there's how we tie it back to the gamers. Holographic is like a holographic
I can't tie this back to
Charizard.
the gamers. I have other interests in my life. I'm gonna start a nail polish spin-off podcast. That wouldn't be very interesting. I feel like there's not that much to talk
Polish
about
together where we do each other's nails.
while we
then we
talk about
discuss, yeah.
whatever.
And we discuss the goings on.
Okay.
Um,
So besides nail polish, I've also been playing Hades, and I've already beaten it, but there's an epilogue I can get, so I continue playing, but I think I'm gonna wrap it up soon. I kept playing mostly to romance Thanatos, who's the god of death. I just thought he was a kind of a hottie, so I kept playing for that. I have one more
what's he look like?
level to give him. He looks like an emo boy.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. So I was doing that mostly for him, not really for the epilogue. But I've beaten my father so many times. It's a joke by now. Really good game, by the way. Really great game. You should check it out. It's on Switch, a couple other places, but I love it. I also am playing Murder by Numbers because I've been getting in my Picross game deeply recently. I just really love Picross. It's especially a good game for me in the mornings. It just feels like waking up and reading the newspaper, play a couple games of Picross. My dad is really into Sudoku, and I feel like this is like, a genetic thing a bit. I feel like if you haven't tried Picross, you should. If you like little puzzle games that aren't that hard, that make you feel smart, because I'm not smart enough for real puzzle games, so I have to play Picross. I'm not really liking Murder by Numbers that much, though.
Why is that?
Say I feel
because I remember I wanted this game just based on the aesthetics. It's like a visual novel.
I think it's interesting. I just don't. It's not grabbing me the way I wanted it to, and I find myself kind of skimming the dialogue. And there's nothing wrong with it being inspired by Phoenix Wright, but it just makes me wish I was playing Phoenix Wright. You know what I mean? It's a good game though. It has good characters. It's not bad in any way. I just think it's not doing it for me the way I wanted it to.
All right, fair enough.
But I don't think it's a bad game, and I think it's worth picking up if you like Picross at all, because it just adds a little story to Picross, and the Picross puzzles are good. And that's mostly what I've been playing.
Is there a discussion in the visual novel players community of like, do they make like short ones? Not game, like the dialogues always go on a little too long for me. That's my problem with visual novels.
Are pretty long.
It's not that the game is too long, but like, there's a lot of
what it is.
No, well, yeah, it's long, sure, but I mean, like, I want to get to the next scene. I don't need to still be in the scene or something. Like, there's just too many.
Personally, I feel like that means you don't like visual novels, because that's all it is.
Exactly, correct.
It's a novel.
It's the part that I end up not liking, and why, even though I'm interested in all these things, like that one you were playing with everything was all green. Oh, man,
everything was all green.
It was the 999 guy, I think.
Oh man, I love those games.
It seems awesome. Like I'm really interested in visual novel. The stories all sound cool.
The AI
Nausea,
one?
yeah, AI Somnum.
Yeah, that's a great game.
Nausea, and like all these games look really cool to me, but I just know that I'm gonna get like bored.
You don't like reading, folks. I don't know what to say.
I mean, I don't even like that in JRPGs and stuff where it gets too long.
That's fair. I mean, that's not what you go to games for.
Right.
And that's fair.
Like is there like is there like light novels or like teen preteen books? What are they called? Young adult.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like
easier. Ironically, young adult books are some longer than adult books.
Yeah. Okay, are there like chapter books where the font is real big?
Yeah, probably. But I still feel like you wouldn't enjoy it because it's all it is. Like
I'm just here for the story.
There's
I don't
no gameplay.
I don't need,
That's why you watch movies.
Yeah, but then they're not long enough.
Oh, they're too long.
But then
they're too long.
But then shows get too long. I need something in the middle. I need a TV
Recently,
miniseries.
I've been coming back to movies and appreciating them more than I was for a while because of TV shows, and appreciating TV shows less in light of appreciating movies more. I know that sounds so weird.
I'm back on my anime bullshit.
Oh yeah, well, I'm there too. But I'm just saying, I think for a while I was like, but agreeing with this idea that TV shows could do more. And yes, that's still sometimes true, but there's something great about a movie being this self-contained, more limited story. And I don't know. Anyway, this is not really relevant to video games, but I've just been watching some good movies lately. So if you're interested, you should go watch Nomadland. Great movie.
I would say it is relevant to games, though, because I think games go too long.
Yes, it is relevant to games. You're right.
They're like way too long, too much.
I felt this way about Last of Us 2, and I feel like that game was so close to being just like a great movie, but it just went on too long. And a lot of games do this, and it's like, you don't need to do that. Just relax.
But I wonder how much of it is pressure from the market, from the consumer,
for sure.
Of like, I paid $70 for an 8-hour game.
Because that's still such a conversation, and I don't understand, and I really don't understand when it's like grown ass adults saying that.
Right.
It's like,
right. If you're a kid, your concept of money is skewed.
Right.
Or if you don't have a lot of money, I get it, where you need to look for the best value. But I guess it's not worth complaining about. Then don't play that one if you've heard it's short.
Ironically, though, I don't think I've ever felt that way. Even when I was a kid, I don't think I ever complained about that.
I don't know if I would have complained on the internet, but I'm sure I spoke in dollars to hours. I think me and my buddies would talk about, oh, well, I could go see a movie for 15 and it's only an hour and a half, or I could spend 60 and get 18 hours out of this, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember thinking like that, and I've since grown out of that.
It's interesting, and
Now,
I do
that
think part of
doesn't.
it is now that we're making money,
Yeah.
it does change it. But then also just appreciating art in a different way
That's where,
is
yeah,
also part
I
of it.
appreciate the art differently because I can play a $60 game and say this wasn't worth $60, not because of the time investment, but because of what I got out of it.
These days, at the end of the day, I'm very rarely saying something wasn't worth the money I spent, mostly because I don't like having buyer's remorse. But also, I just feel like I'm paying for like a luxury good. I don't know.
Yeah.
We've definitely had this
I guess
conversation
you
before.
should keep your mouth shut about it. If your problem is only that you didn't get your value, most of the time it's probably not worth talking about. Unless there was something actually interesting. I don't know. Maybe that's worth talking about. Who knows? But it doesn't matter.
There was that controversy. Wasn't you were talking about that one game about blinking, and people were that one.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't it the developer who retweeted
A comment
a
that
review?
said, loved this game.
It was a Steam review.
This game was, yeah, a Steam review that said, this game was amazing. This was one of the greatest games I've ever played. It was only an hour and a half, so I refunded it.
What's
So,
the
like,
game
what?
called again? Because we should probably
Don't
promote it.
blink. I put it on my, I forget. Ooh, I feel bad.
I'll Google
Anyways,
it.
I guess the game tracks your face, and if you blink, it changes. The game changes the story. And the comment is like, well, you just admitted the game's incredible, but you just played for free. You
Mhm.
didn't give the creators anything, like because you got a refund. That's very
That's shitty.
yeah.
And it does make me think in some cases you should be able to sort of like,
If your game is 2 hours,
it's called. Is it called Before Your Eyes?
yes.
Okay. Before Your Eyes.
Apparently, it's like makes people cry. I don't know if
It
that's
looks
like
cool.
a joke about the fact that their eyes have to stay open wide, and then like the air makes them cry.
Maybe, but also the story could be touching.
But yeah, I think it's. I really want to play that game soon.
Seems cool. And
But
seems
yeah, I
worth
think
the money.
Steam should have some sort of system where it's like, if you, the creator, certify your game is less than this amount of time, the refund policy is a half hour.
Mhm.
Something like that.
So what games have you been playing?
So I've gone back to Sea of Thieves, which, sure, I play that game co-op, but Grace doesn't want to play it because she's scared of sharks.
I'm not, but I hate that game. I don't hate it. I just don't like it.
Sea of Thieves recently started Season 2, which is funny because it's been out for like 4 years. But they added cargo run missions between outposts, which is like, I've talked about this game a lot.
One of these
but
days
it's
you
hard.
should do a podcast with your friends that you play with this game on. I think
might.
that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
And I could host it.
We always complain that it takes too long to make very little money, at least the way we play and the time that we're willing to invest. And they added this thing that you just you purchase cargo in one place and you take it to another place and sell it for profit. And there's surplus and there's supply and demand. And that is very fun for us, and that is the thing we wanted to do the whole time. And you can fly a flag that says, I'm sailing for the merchants, which marks you for reapers. Reapers can see you on their map, so they'll come try to take your cargo and sell it. But it just added, it's like way more fun, and you actually make money. I'm afraid they're going to nerf it. I'm afraid like you're making too much money too easily. But at the same time, their game has shifted so far to be for real money. Like it has so much microtransactions now that maybe they don't care about the in-game economy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they just let us continue to make like $1,000.
But can you get a pet for in-game money yet?
Nope, that costs real money.
That's bullshit.
And I'm close to buying one because
like,
it's pretty awesome. You can
I
pick
don't
it up
really
and put it down.
understand. The game's not free, is it?
I mean, it's on Game Pass, and so possibly they decided like most people are going to only be playing this from Game Pass.
Yeah, but okay.
Listen,
there's a lot of
I
games.
think I think that the microtransactions, if you were to add it up, I'm pretty sure it's over $1,000.
That's bad,
Yeah.
bro.
I really don't like this, and I really don't like how it is. And I get it, you're not supposed to buy everything, but it's really
I'm not
the
here
whole
to complain
game-
about microtransactions, but when a game
No.
you already bought costs money and I can't, that would really frustrate me.
it's frustrating to me because the thing you do in that game is earn stuff to buy cosmetics.
Right.
Like there is no better weapons, there is no better
And
anything.
it feels like such a like,
So the only thing is
"Tee-hee,
cosmetics.
you can't have a little monkey. Like, of course I want a little monkey, man.
I wish there was a very basic free of each pet, and then you could
Exactly.
get costumes for them. Sure, I'll pay for
Exactly.
those when I have one I want.
Right. So
But-
it feels even more nefarious to
Yeah.
put the thing that, of course, everybody wants, and you're not even going to like have one option of it. And it feels, in my case, If I'm a pirate without a monkey, am I even a pirate? You know what I mean?
Well, they also added dagger trick emotes, and I really wanted those. I was like, that's piratey. I would just be sitting there with my dagger, like stabbing my hand, playing the game between the fingers.
You know what you need to do? You need to drop this game
But
and
that
go
costs
play
money.
Puzzle Pirates.
No, what I'm gonna do is start playing Phantasy Star Online New Genesis because it comes out in like June. They announced, but that's got the same thing. The Phantasy Star Online 2 that's out right now, that's playable now, has so many cosmetics you can buy. It's a little different because it is free to play.
I hope you put Puzzle Pirates in the description. Did you ever play Puzzle
I
Pirates?
have no idea what you're talking about. Let's talk about Puzzle Pirates.
Puzzle Pirates is an MMO I used to play quite a bit, and it was free. And it was great. You were a pirate, and you could raid
You
other
solved
people's
puzzles.
ships by doing. It was like a puzzle game, kind of not like Tetris, but like Bejeweled. It's more close to that. It was so fun. I don't know why I really loved it.
Did it give you the feeling of actually sailing? No. So I don't want to play it.
Listen, pal. It's all about. I used to play a lot of free MMOs when I was a kid. I would just try. I
Did you
would try
play
so
Flife?
many.
Fly for fun?
Oh, absolutely. I played them all.
I think I tried to play Flife and could never get it running, and I was so envious because it looked sick. You're
Like-
literally flying around on a witch's broom. I want to do that.
My memories of these games feel so cursed. Like I only played except Maple Story. I played a lot of Maple Story too. That was a great game.
Did you play
And
Guns
RuneScape.
the Duel with a Z?
No, I
Guns with a
didn't.
Z.
That doesn't sound like a bit of me.
Yeah, not really. It was a shooter where you could like run on walls and flip off walls and stuff, and it
No.
was not gonna lie, it was pretty fun.
My only shooting experience as a child was in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, where I was in a clan called Born to Kill.
That's pretty cool. You should
Finding
get it
out
tattooed.
Born to Kill people out there. Can you imagine? I knew some of these people, like we voice chatted. It really concerns me thinking about that. Like I was a child. BtK. I had a tag and everything.
Were they like
And then they took away
adults?
servers from Call of Duty and I never played again. They used to have dedicated servers for like your own thing and you couldn't do that anymore.
Why can't you just join the party?
Because that's not how
And
it
party
was.
up.
Because that was hard. Because then you'd have to like friend people. You didn't want to have to do that. There's like cool dedicated servers to certain things. There were
Right.
servers dedicated to
I'm
like
a big-
glitching and stuff.
Yeah, I'm a
and-
big dedicated server fan.
Okay, then why are you trying to play devil's advocate? You understand what I'm saying?
your own advocate.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway.
I'm workshopping this
This
thing
is
where
such
she
a-
says you don't have to be the devil's advocate, and I say I imply I'm the devil, and I started today with
Cut
this,
this out, cut this out, cut this out, cut this out. It's not funny.
and I said you can't be your own advocate, but like she's right, you can. So if anybody has ideas how I can make this joke work, rebuttal to the devil's advocate.
This is the most like just talking about not anything important at all podcast we've had in a while.
So why don't we talk about something very important and near and dear to my heart?
Yes.
Monster Hunter Rise. Developed by Capcom and published by Capcom, Monster Hunter Rise was released on March 26th, 2021 for the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo came out of my mouth weird.
Yo, y'all hear about that great Ace Attorney though? Forget about Monster Hunter Rise. We talking about Hairlock Sholmes, baby.
So listen, yeah, that game seems cool. But I'm here to talk about Monhun.
All right. Just talking about other
year from
Capcom
now,
games.
A year from now, this game is coming to PC, at which point I can't wait to see what that looks like. I'm not going to play it there because I really
Wait,
love that it's portable.
A year from now. Exactly?
Quarter 1 and 2 of 2022.
So they must have had like a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine what this is going to look like on PC.
Because
somehow it looks
plays so
incredible
well
and
on the
runs so
Switch.
well on Switch. And you can see where they're cutting corners to make it perform.
I would say I don't really notice the cutting.
Oh, I don't
corners,
notice it. I'm
though.
just saying you can tell where it's happening.
I'm
Like,
saying I can't tell.
you
so
can't see when
it's
they fade
impressive to
out
me.
into checkerboarded,
No.
see-through models. It bugs me because I'm trying to get cool pictures, and all of a sudden there's like a 50% visible.
The only thing I do notice is the bug where they get up from the dead
And
and,
they
walk
run
into the
into it.
walls. They need to fix that.
Yeah,
Hey,
what is
fix that? That's
I mean, they're
ins-
clearly running from the locale, right? But
Is that
where are they
no?
going?
I don't know what it is, but some of the smaller animals, I will kill them. They will be dead. I will be carving them, and they will resurrect and run into the walls and
Pretty
disappear. It makes me very mad.
but yeah, this game, the genre is a monster hunter.
Oh, well, there you go.
Can you explain what that is in case nobody has
I
listened?
would call it action-adventure game and also a looter in a lot of ways.
I think that it kind of carved its own path and made its own sort of genre. Really, like it's more like a Fantasy Star. Like
I was going to say, excuse me?
Monster Hunter. They said some of their inspiration when they made the first one on PS2 was some of the things in Fantasy Star, and this you can see that, you know.
It's definitely multiplayer focused.
Yeah,
game
and
as well.
going into little instances to, like, you know, tackle a mission. But can you kind of explain what we're doing though? Because it's been a while since we talked about Monster Hunter World, which, by the way, we said would be a part 1 and a part 2. So I guess this is kind of the honorary part 2 of Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, we never went back and played Iceborne. We
Right.
thought about
We
it,
thought we
but
would, but
we just didn't. But this game,
Yeah. Now, also,
Instead.
after we did part 1 of Monster Hunter World, we still played a buttload of that game. We just didn't have much else to say. Like, we still loved it, and we still had a blast, and we still had a very fun time, you know?
yes.
Like, so we didn't feel like it actually doesn't really warrant another episode.
So far, we've played about 40 hours of Monster
I
Hunter
think
Rise.
we're higher than that. We got
It's about 45. I mean, I look
Okay.
at the file every time.
I see.
And we're Hunter rank 5.
But we have been going
Not in
slowly.
the village, the hub part, because there's 2 ranks, kind of.
So can you kind of run down what we're doing in Monster Hunter? Because
Well, we're hunting monsters.
actually, there was a very... Did I send you that video? There was
No.
a video from like 2011 where this kid is playing a game and he's like, hey, you want to play some Team Fortress or whatever? And the other kid's like, nah, I've been playing this game called Monster Hunter. And then his friend's like, oh, that's cool. What do you do in that game? And then the camera just slowly zooms in on the guy's face. And it's pretty funny.
That sounds funny.
Yeah, you hunt monsters.
Have you seen that game, We Shop Wednesday?
Have I seen the game We Shop Wednesday? No,
video.
I've seen the Nirvana the show, the band, or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's a good game.
Have you ever watched Nirvana the band, the show, or whatever that is?
No, I'm scared it's going to be problematic because it's old. Like
Yeah.
old skit shows, I feel like you're
Yeah.
delving into dangerous territory.
That's a good video. Go look it up. We Shop Wednesdays.
We Shop Wednesdays.
I for some reason my favorite part is
Ninja
when he's
Gaiden
like
1.
that's
Ninja
good.
Gaiden 2.
But the funniest part to me is when he's like, what time is it? And he like looks up. He's like, it's 11. Usually it's at 12. Like the way that's acted and
very good.
delivered is very funny. Anyways, Grace, could you please tell us how Monster Hunter is played? Like, what's the genre gameplay explanation?
Well, you choose a weapon, and then you get some friends, and then you say, you guys suck. And then you go and you fight the monsters, and then you get their body parts and you make them into armor, and you keep doing it until you're like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, that's it. You smash a guy in the face, take his face,
Yes.
use that face to smash another guy in the face, to take his face to smash the next guy in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And it's satisfying.
And you do it with your kitty, doggy friends.
And human friends.
And human friends, if
And
you
then-
have them.
You become toxic individuals, and we will get to that. We have something to discuss and announce
And then you
apologize
decide
for.
that everyone who plays Monster Hunter Rise is big baby. And if you played the other Monster Hunter games before they did, you are the greatest.
Yes, I think let's talk about this right now. I think that your first Monster Hunter is the one where you think you suck, or you learn because you do suck. But you learn on your first one. It's like riding a tricycle, or I mean, a bike with training wheels. And then
Isn't a
the
bike
second Monster Hunter is one where your
bicycle.
training wheels are off, but you're still rolling with homies that have training wheels on, and you're just getting real pissed that they don't know what they're doing because you spent all that time in the other game learning how to do stuff. And now in this game, these people can't do anything right, and you're screaming. And this game turned us into toxic people, and I really don't like it. But also, I do really like it because it's kind of fun to be on top for once in my life, okay? It's fun to be good at something. And I'm not even that good at anything, at this thing.
Sometimes some games will reveal aspects of your personality you didn't want to know about.
I didn't want to know this about me. I already knew this a little bit about you, so I'm not as surprised by
What
you.
the f- I'm
Listen to you when you
confident.
play Smash, dog. And you remember the dive kick saga?
Fun game.
Yeah. But
AB.
I'm not that surprised it came out of you, but it is still funny that it did.
Listen,
But for me,
Born to Kill. What can I say?
that's true. I was never in BtK. Was it BtK or B2K?
BtK.
B2K is funnier.
I guess so. I don't think either of them are funny. I think they're all just stupid. Anyway, Monster Hunter Rise, developed and licensed by Capcom.
What?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm
So
spiraling.
the gameplay explanation is
We
it's
gave
a
it to them
third
already.
person action game and you're swinging weapons and it's very heavy on animation priority. So like you learn your weapon. What's really cool about this game is it's almost like a fighting game where you learn your main character and in this you learn your main weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And what's cooler to me about it than fighting games is you don't have to learn all the other characters to be able to be good at it.
You
Like
just have to learn the
you just have to
monsters.
learn, yeah, which I guess is like learning the characters. But in a fighting game, if you pick your main is Ryu, Rio,
Rio.
you then still have to learn everybody else to know exactly what's going to happen and how they're played and what you should look out for. But in this, I don't need to know how your weapon works to hunt with you.
I mean, it's interesting though, because it is kind of like that in that you do have to learn the monsters.
Yes, but it's not like learning the in-depth strategy of the monster. Like I don't have to go in and learn the finite details about when certain thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the monsters are a little more generic. They all have
I mean,
stagger patterns and certain things that they do that show you that they're like getting tired, and they all react to statuses and some of them have resistances, but generally there's like similarities enough between them that you can go into a monster fight you've never fought before and win. Like it will be fine. Sometimes you won't because sometimes they're harder and you have to learn their movesets. Like Magnum Malo is one of those. One of the what did you call it? The cover
it's
title.
the flagship monster, and they
Yes.
throw it at you relatively early in the game, I'd say, and it's way too hard.
It's hard, but once you've done it a couple times, it does feel more manageable. And it's not because you're leveling up, it's because you're learning how the monster is moving and how it's
and
attacking. So it's really interesting because
and you're learning how to maneuver your character and weapon. Like you're
unlike
getting better at what you can do and combo into what and how.
unlike most other games where you love like grinding to level up, you grind your brain. You know what I mean?
Which
It's
is
like
what makes this game
Picross.
so good.
Basically what I'm saying is Monster Hunter is like Picross. What do you think about that? Yeah.
If only in Picross you could like take the ones and twos out of the puzzle you were just doing and put them in the next one.
Right.
You know?
That's the second part
If
of
you could
this
hit
is
if you could hit the Picross with a hammer right at the end and then like take pieces of it to the next puzzle.
that's the second part of this is what else is fun is, grinding in a way to get certain monster pieces which drop at different levels depending on like which parts you're breaking off or how if whether you're killing it or capturing it. And then whether or not you get those parts has a lot to do with what armor you're making. And sets will give you bonuses. So it's all about making new armor and fighting monsters. That's sort of the gameplay loop there. And it's very fun because the combat is you can never really slack off. It's not the kind of thing where it's relaxing ever. Um but so like we can't play for super long because it's hard work.
It's
Dude,
hard.
Monster
It's
Hunter
legitimately
ain't
hard
easy,
work.
dude.
Yeah, but
Feels like a job.
I love it. I
My
love coming
dream
home
job.
every night and wanting to play at least a couple. It feels good. This is a good game. What's the co-op category? We have these categories that we kind of classify co-op games with.
I think we decided this was damage dealing.
Yes, it's damage stacking where you coming along means we're dealing more damage to the monster faster.
And it does
And this is like the epitome of that,
it does scale up the monster's health as well.
which is a new
So it
feature I
makes it
think in this
harder.
game.
Oh.
I don't think the other ones did that. Or what it was
Are you
if you're solo,
sure?
it's one thing, and then if you have 2, 3, or 4, it's the same amount. So
I see.
this is the first one I believe. I believe this is what I read. This is the first one where if you have 2, it's X health. If you have 3, it's X plus a little bit,
But it definitely helps either way. I would think, well, I guess we'll talk about co-op difficulty later.
Well, what? What are you going to say?
That it's both easier and harder in co-op in the more people. And it definitely
Okay.
depends on who you're playing with.
Mm-hmm.
But in some ways it's easier because there's more people to distract the monster from you.
Yeah.
So yes, the monster has more health and so in that way it's harder, but there's also much more going on, so there's more tactics and strategy that you can employ in that way.
Yeah. So let's get to it then. Let's start talking about the factors. The type of co-op. Is it couch, online, split screen? Same
It's
screen?
only online. There's no couch co-op. This is one of the few co-op games we get 2 of.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was the first one we ever did for Saves Together that we got 2 copies for.
That might be true. I Don't remember though.
Yeah. But so only online. But I will say, Nintendo Switch has not been well known for its online servers, but I think the Monster Hunter Rise runs really well. We've
Hmm.
only ever had like a problem here or there, and it wasn't because of us, and it's very rare.
Yeah. So our host, the connection. I mean, I don't know if we're connecting to their actual, network, but the person who started the quest, they were in a place with not great Wi-Fi, and at some point, Magnamala was just standing. Like he wasn't drooling or anything; he was just standing there, and I mean, it was pretty
Although
fun.
then that happened again later, and it wasn't an internet issue.
But it was
and now
much
I'm starting
longer
to think that
'cause
Magnum
if-
Hollow is fucked up or something.
Well, on your screen, Magnamala was laying down, and on my screen, Magnamala was standing.
No, there was definitely
So there was something there, and then he disconnected.
Yeah.
But again, I don't blame that on
But
Nintendo.
mostly we don't really notice at all any internet issues.
Yeah.
So it runs really well.
There's a YouTuber, a Monster Hunter YouTuber that I like named Gaijin Hunter. He was saying that this is Nintendo's first game on their new online servers. So obviously Capcom did some incredible things to make the game run this well online. And then apparently Nintendo has a better server structure now. So I think that all adds together. But it's very impressive. Like to go from Animal Crossing, where to join someone's island, everybody has to stop what they're doing and nobody can be in their menus. And you have to watch a video for about a minute and a half.
So frustrating.
To go from that to this, where you join, you enter the passcode, and pop, you're in my world. It's incredible. And we just go, and it works. And I'm not complaining in any way. I love it. Separate mode or full?
Well, in this game, it's there's
like
a
half.
separate solo mode. It
Yeah.
feels more like multiplayer is the full game, and
Yep.
that the solo part of the game is separate.
Is the separate mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
Because there are quests you are not allowed to do with each other, but because we've been doing more of the multiplayer quests, those end up being extremely easy, which they're supposed to be because you're by yourself. So I
they're
think
like a
it's
tutorial
supposed to train you
almost.
up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does feel more like this is supposed to be being played multiplayer.
Which I don't think is a problem. Like there was a couple of people on the internet talking about, you can beat it in like 4 hours. It's like you're playing a different game than we are, you know?
Mhm.
Like I don't is there something wrong with making a game that Phantasmagoria, remember that game? That game is a co-op game. You would not buy that to play it alone.
No, I don't think there's anything
So
wrong.
why is
We've
it like a
played co-op only games before?
Right. So why is it such a weird thing that like no, Monster Hunter's co-op, I'm sorry.
There's nothing wrong with it personally. I mean, just like there's only single player games, I
Right.
don't think there's anything wrong with having only co-op games.
Yeah. And it's just cool that there is some single player, so when nobody's online, you can, if you don't want to do the hub quests, you can do some village quests by yourself.
It's also just fun because I just like just absolutely destroying a monster.
Absolutely destroying the monster.
It
Yeah,
makes me
it's
feel
great.
good, you know?
Because we have high rank gear now
Mhm.
from the hub quests, and we're going back into like low rank crap in the village, and you're beating them in less than a minute.
Yeah. It's sick. Oh, we should also talk about what weapons we're using.
Good idea.
I use the switch axe. I think in the previous game, I believe I used sword and shield just
Mhm.
because it's more of like a beginner's weapon. And I enjoyed that, but then I was like, I want to try something different. And I found the switch axe and I really liked the balance between movement and heavy hitting. It's definitely slower, but I feel like I've gotten a lot better now at dodging and I'm rolling out of the way. So if the hitboxes are so tight and just good, so like I can roll out of the way in such a way that feels so perfect, and it's very satisfying, and you basically go from axe to sword, and it's very fun.
The next factor is control scheme. So how are you controlling that Switch X?
Well, we use our pro controllers,
Mhm.
and the thing about these games is, yes, there is a training mode where you can bring a weapon into this like contained little lobby and they'll give you some moves. But honestly, you probably just go watch YouTube.
Yeah.
Like and this is absolutely a knock against the game for me,
Mhm.
is that I feel like it is very hard to get into as a beginner. And we definitely talked about this with Monster Hunter World, but it took us a long time to even play these games because it felt extremely inaccessible. And even still, in this game that's the most accessible yet, if you don't go like read about certain things, you won't be able to find that in the game. You will like get screwed and you won't even know certain mechanics that are really important. And it's kind of crazy. And I think that's a little bit of a problem. I wish
And-
they would provide more training on the weapons at the very least.
A lot of fighting games have this same problem. If you want to play fighting games at a higher level, I'd say this game's worse than that because you can't even button mash, really. In a fighting game,
Definitely
you could get into a fight and button mash and maybe have fun. In this game, if you can't control your weapon, you're not having fun. There's no
So
way.
what weapon do you use?
I use the insect glaive, which is what I used in World. I know, but I just really love spinning around like a helicopter. They added a couple of nuanced things that change it a bit, so that's fun. I do want to go back to a little bit of light bowgun. I think I'm gonna do hammer, maybe.
I tried hammer to see if I wanted to do that
I played a
first, but
little of it, yeah.
I thought switch axe was a little better because hammer felt just slightly too slow
I
for me.
think that hammer's gonna be so slow, but so satisfying to clobber the thing on the head.
It will be really different for you because you'll have to learn how
It's
to
the
dodge.
complete opposite.
Yeah.
Wait, well, I mean, I dodge a lot, but
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
your movement will be so different.
yes. I also considered I think the lance or maybe the gun, whichever one has this giant lance and the shield. Maybe they both do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can like run straight forward with it and it looks kind of funny. And you can stare the beast down. Like you don't move. I'm pretty sure as that weapon, you are such a tank that like you're supposed to be blocking and parrying, not necessarily dodging.
Yeah.
And so like the idea of just like looking Magnamalo in the eyes as it dashes off the wall at you in lightning, like I don't know, it sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, there's a very large amount of variety of weapons. So like, depending on what kind of gameplay you're into, you can find something.
Yeah,
so if you're more into range, there's a bunch of ranged weapons.
Yeah, our crew was rolling with a light bow gun user, a bow user, and then somebody switching between hunting horn and switch axe. No, your switch axe. Charge blade.
Yeah, so we had a little bit of everything.
Yeah, which is cool.
I think it's good because it helps for tripping, which is when you and another player can collide, which happens very rarely, but it depends on how close you are to the monster compared to everybody else, and you can kind of hit each other's weapons, deflect off each other if you're not careful. So, like, our switch axe and insect glaive is pretty good combo because generally we're not really getting in each other's way.
I'm above the monster and you're at its feet or at its head.
Similar to range. Like, as long as the range person isn't shooting at you, then you'll probably not get hit by them either. So it's good to have like a good mix. If you're obviously like you can't really plan for that because everyone chooses what they want, but if you know multiple weapons and you're with people that are using the same weapon as you, it's probably good to change it up.
Yeah. So, like you said, you need to watch a video to know how to play your weapon. If you don't watch a video, you are not playing it correctly, almost guaranteed. I also think you should watch a video or read a guide about etiquette, like online etiquette. And it's stupid. This is really like gross that you have to say this, I think, kind of. But there are things that you could be doing that's like, that's wrong. Stop doing that. You're hurting the team, you know. That is a knock against this game. I don't know if it's a big one, but it's like, I don't know. Is it actually, should there be like a thing online that's like, be careful, like, welcome to online, careful about tripping. If you die, everyone's going to be mad at you.
I don't think it'd be a bad idea to make a guide in the game to say some of those things.
Like, even in world, have it like be like a poster board, like hunting tips 101, you know?
Yeah.
And get out of the way when the monster's attacking and you have no health. Like, don't keep attacking. Run away. Potions are your friend. Like, put signs all over that, like, remember, potions are your friend. Progression. Things to unlock.
Really only your armor that you create and weapons. That's it. It's all about armors and weapons. You don't level up, so you're just unlocking new equipment as you get Monster Hunter parts. It's a very simple formula, actually. It's only complicated in the mechanics. It's not hard to understand the gameplay loop.
Yeah, the loop is simple, but then it adds on things that you're, slotting into the parts, and your stats are going up just a little bit, but it's a lot,
And you have different resistances and such.
Yeah. Shared loot XP.
Nothing is shared.
Nothing is shared. There's no trading.
Nothing is shared, which I think is just an aspect of online co-op only also.
Yeah, we came up with a system where you could have trading. So trading's not in it, and it makes sense because if the whole point is to like farm these monsters over and over and over again, and I could just give you the armor you want, it would kind of skew the economy, right? But I think that if you're on a hunt with someone in your hunting party and you just finished hunting, you should be able to trade one item. Because if you were hunting for a gem and I don't need it, I should be able to give it to you because we were out there in the field. It makes sense, you know?
I like the idea.
And that way it's limited. You can't just be giving them armor. You can't just be giving them all the parts they need.
I'm sure the diehard Monster Hunter tough guys out there would be very upset by this idea.
That's the thing. I feel like I'm in the middle ground.
You started on Monster Hunter World. Of course you are.
Yeah, right. Also, actually, earlier you said this is the most accessible one yet. Do you think World? I think World's a better one to start with.
I don't really remember enough about World to say if that's true or not.
Okay.
I think
It's on more systems.
I
so-
actually think this one is better to start with because of the village quest, hub quest system. I feel like the
Fair.
village quests are a little bit easier and you can do them by yourself. While I feel like World, all of the quests you kind of had to do with other people.
That's true. But then you had to wait for the. Remember waiting for you to finish the cutscene?
Yeah, plus that was way worse.
and
It
then
was just
quit. That was bad.
it made no sense of how to do. Yeah, it was harder to set co-op up.
Friendly fire. Can you hurt each other in any way?
You can only stagger each other. Well, yes, you can hurt each other
Tripping,
indirectly with
explosions,
bombs.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things like, we've had to teach a certain someone in this room about communication.
So the next is interruptive action. Let's not talk about that one.
When you place down a bomb, you need to tell your people.
We're not at the
communication.
We're not at the communication. Listen, we're not at the communications one yet. You might change your mind by the time we get there. That maybe we don't need to talk about that.
All I need to say is that some games can teach you teamwork in an important way. People from their companies should learn to play Monster Hunter and develop and just start toxic. I mean, listen, we have to teach each other about communication and etiquette. This is important in real life too. Monster Hunter's teaching us real life lessons. All right, continue.
I, Craig McGowan, hereby do solemnly swear to stop throwing bombs willy-nilly and maybe just let you know that I'm about to do that.
Just say I'm placing a bomb.
It says pimpin' when I put one down. I changed it.
Too late. That is too
get good.
late. That is too late. I am wielding a heavy axe. I need to know before you do it so I can stop and step away.
Here's the deal. There is friendly fire, and I think what it is it's psychic damage in real life. Because like I said, I'm not proud of this, but boy, do I get angry.
Every
and it
time
hurts.
someone dies.
Every time someone dies, and it's by something I think they shouldn't have died from. And I'm being an opinionated asshole about that.
Psychic damage.
I think they're hurting me in real life, and that is friendly fire. It's like, why were you not healing? Why were you in the middle of the monster's attack? Did you not see him charging up? I'm a bad person, and I acknowledge that.
Wow.
And it feels
saves together first.
Listen.
Craig acknowledges he's a bad person.
Listen, it feels kind of good.
It feels good to be kind of
good
bad.
to be on top.
Next factor.
Interruptive actions like screen block, screen drag, screen warp.
Only really the tripping, I would say, is interruptive.
But that's not like the game warping me without.
No. None of that. There's none of that.
Yeah.
Because it's,
you got
obviously
your own
online co-op is good for that reason.
And you can't even, you won't drag me into the quest until I ready up. You'll just leave without me.
Yeah, it's good in that way. It's very consent friendly. Like you have to consent to do the things that you're doing.
I guess that's one way to put it. We only talk about this next factor if we actually did it, and that's playing online. And we've now done it. We do it a lot. The experience we said has been great.
Yeah.
I have played with randoms. Have you?
No.
Okay. Playing with randoms, first of all.
And we were this is kind of going back to the etiquette thing because
The
we're not
new
the only
me-
ones that complain about this.
The new me did get a little mad at these noobs. Okay.
Cazuls.
At these kazul. I got called a kazul the first time I played this. We went online and someone said kazul, and I was like, what? And I realized that's probably casual because we were very bad. It was the first hunt I did. And listen, he's not wrong. Here's the thing. I accept that I was a kazul. It could be casual. It could be casual.
How is it spelled?
Cazul. Guaranteed that means casual. I think it's a Dark Souls Bloodborne thing.
Well, it's also a tequila.
Well, I don't think this guy was giving me a shot because I was missing and whiffing everything I was doing. Anyways, I played online with randoms and watching them not understand what head priority is. God, I'm such an asshole. Watching them, just not follow the monster, not go where they need to go, not ration, not stop at the box. It's like, what are you doing?
I find so I was just Googling.
I feel really bad being like this.
You're a bad person. I was just Googling cazul because I wanted to see if it was also something in another language, and I don't think it is, which makes it even funnier, the idea that like it was just someone's typo and now we're saying it. I just say it constantly because I think it's funny. So yeah, we don't like cazuls. So randoms can just GTFO.
Yeah, honestly. But yeah, look up etiquette guides.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience.
Get off my game.
All things considered,
bro.
though, it's a good experience. It works well.
Yeah.
You jump in there. You can communicate with auto-translated messages. So if I pick the one that's auto-translate and it says, let's capture it, it translates to whatever language their region is.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can set your own things and you can say funny stuff at them, like Kazul.
Yeah, I like the auto messages for certain things that happen are fun. We set those up and those.
I think that's what I love about this, like all that kind of custom stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Changing what you look like, making it so when you jump on a monster, he says, ride him, daddy. Like, just stupid stuff to make each other laugh.
Riding them, daddy.
Difficulty of the co-op.
So that's what I was kind of saying earlier, is it's both harder and easier. It
Right.
really depends.
Isn't that cool, though? I think that's
it's a unique game in that
cool.
way. Because you have more chances to die. If you die 3 times collectively, the game is over. And that's extremely frustrating. It's one of the knocks for me against this game is how...
that's not a knock. That's a rise. A Monster Hunter Rise.
Opinion piece by Grace Novak. This is a knock against Monster Hunter Rise for me because it just makes me so mad. And
but here's the deal. We were pissing those people off.
Even if it's just me and you, it's just like, cool, we wasted 20 minutes of my life. I'll never get
you got to
back.
look at it as the experience as a whole. We're trying, we're getting better, we're learning. Mostly I do,
but sometimes when it's other people especially dying, and then it's like, guess I'll die in real life. I don't know.
See, psychic damage was dealt, dude.
Psychic damage. So it is harder and it is easier, and a lot of it depends on who you're playing with, and so it's unique in that way for sure.
But I love that you have to assemble a crew of serious motherfuckers.
I do think it can be really fun to do with more and more people. Like there's not really nothing like a huge monster and all 4 people are battling it out against him and there's other monsters coming in. It's fun. Like that's so fun. It's a unique experience.
When the monster's been knocked over and everyone is just blah, 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 and there's like damage markers going off everywhere and like.
And then it becomes not fun when someone dies and you scream and you cry. So, these are the ups and downs of life and of Monster Hunter Rise. Just like Monster Hunter Rise is just like life.
But would you say you're fair about it? Like I feel I'm being
fair.
Like when you,
I'm never
if someone
fair,
we're playing
bro.
with is not geared up, but we brought them into something hard, or if someone we're playing with is actually new at this game, and we're trying to teach
What
them.
you're saying is yes. Every time I'm mad, it's valid and it's always their fault and not mine. Yes, you're right. I'm fair.
So how intense is this game, Grace?
10 out of 10, bro.
10 intense. It's intense.
It's not a chill game.
No, there's nothing chill about this game.
If you start chilling, you will die, and we will be mad.
If you chill, I'm coming and I'm slapping you out of it.
There's no chillings. That's how it is. That's why we can't play for that long.
Right.
It's a good game.
It's an edge of your seat, white knuckle game.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Competitiveness of the co-op. None, and also this whole Kazul get good thing, tons.
It's not competitive because that's not about being better than them and like, I want to be better than you. It's more like, why aren't you good? That's not competitive. That's more like...
That's more just smart.
That's more like having expectations of other people's skills.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. Yeah, it's not... I would say not competitive at all. You're not fighting over resources. You both want to kill the monster as fast as possible. That is always the goal. That's never not the goal. So you are always like cooperating in that way. It's a very highly cooperative game. But the stakes are so high that's why there's so much tension in how other people perform.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes it interesting.
I really appreciate that they do not tell you how much damage you did versus others. They do not tell you who got the most hits. They don't tell you anything like that.
They changed that a little bit from Monster Hunter World, in that Monster Hunter World would have medals at the end.
It would! Oh, I liked those.
Are you surprised? I told you about this earlier, but you said you didn't know if that was true. It is true.
I remember them now. It was a screen at the end where all of our names popped up and it would...
I don't think...
MVP, most attacks. Yeah.
It was like most damage dealt or most something, something.
I think it's fine without it because what I experienced in this game, I wanted to ask you about it. Do you feel like you're the one carrying the team every single time you're playing?
Well, that's what I was about to say, is that I don't need the medals because I know I'm the best.
No, I'm the best, actually. Like, I guarantee, as I'm playing this, I'm like, this is all me. This is all me. You see me flipping around its head. I go up, I come straight down, I hit its head, neck, back, shoulders, chest. I'm just... And it's like, you guys would be nothing without me. And then I see you fighting off in the distance while I'm collecting birds. I'm like, don't worry, guys. I'll be there soon.
So maybe they
I
did
think
it
that's
to increase our confidence in
exactly,
ourselves.
exactly. And I think that's incredible.
But maybe that's a problem because
I don't
maybe it's
know.
making players that are becoming
Is that why we
entitled.
became entitled toxic pieces of ass?
No, what I'm saying is it's making players feel like they're doing more than they actually are,
Oh, so somebody
and they're
who's not hitting
worse.
them and is using the
Yes.
weapon incorrectly doesn't
What I
realize it.
think there needs to be is something I'm gonna call loser medals.
Yeah,
Instead of
loser
telling
medals.
people what they're good at, is telling people what they're
You suck awards. Number of hits, 0.
you so yeah, just don't-
Times you did the right thing, 1. You're
Yeah.
brilliant, Grace.
I
Put this in the
mean-
game. Make the game more toxic,
Yeah.
but do it because that will
mean,
solve the problem.
You
where
already know at the end of
knock
the day.
you down a peg. If you're not above 50% of like being good, you need to know that you suck.
At the end of the day, you know who died the most. That's all that really matters.
That's true.
That's how we judge you.
Strategy or tactics?
A little bit. We
A lot of it.
well, I
But
would say
not in the
co-op
combat.
wise, no.
What, bro? There's so much prep and learning, literal learning of how to play this game to get good enough to perform well.
I don't call that strategy or tactics. I
call
call
that-
that preparation.
Which is part of strategy. The strategy is to prepare.
You should always prepare. There's never not preparation.
I don't
in
need
anything.
to prepare in Picross. I don't have
Prepare
to
your
come
brain,
in like,
bro.
Yeah, sure.
I guess what I'm saying is there's not a lot of time to
During
set up
combat.
strategy during combat.
But you have established your tactic before, which is guys we're going to capture, or guys we're going to kill, or we're going to
Sometimes.
sleep bomb them. You know, high during the preparation phase,
Yeah.
low during the combat phase. So do you agree communication then, the final factor here, would be the same as strategy and tactics where the prep phase has a lot and the execution phase has none almost?
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's interesting because if you're playing with randoms, there's still just, I don't know how most people play this game. I don't know if most people play this game with other people in like a Discord, because in that case, you would probably be communicating quite a bit more. But it feels like a lot of people also just play with anybody. And in that case, all you have is like your stickers, and you probably don't communicate a lot beyond capture or kill. And then, you know, you look at the what the monster is and you decide what you're going to equip. But during the battle, there's definitely not much. So yeah, it's similar to strategy and tactics.
I'm not that in-depth into the Monster Hunter community, but I'm pretty sure they roll with their crew that they roll with. I don't, like, obviously, yes, a lot of people play online and play with randoms, but
So I would say it depends how you play then,
Yeah.
for sure.
um,
Because it's not, I would say it's not necessary to communicate, but it helps. Like with the bomb example, that's a good example of communication that feels necessary to me in our situation. But obviously, if you're playing online or you're not able to talk to the people you're playing with, how are they gonna know? I guess you just have to be more careful, and that's once again comes down to etiquette.
learning that when the music stops, that means the monster's about to go to sleep,
Yeah.
which means probably you want to sleep bomb them.
Right.
Yeah, things like that. That no one should be expected to actually know, right? Like,
That one specifically is, I would say I wouldn't expect people to know because that
Right.
seems kind of like a, I don't know, that's an interesting tidbit. Plus, I don't feel like it happens that often to us, but maybe because we don't have the sleep stuff.
yeah. Grace, we have a segment that we occasionally head over to, and it's called Grace's Library. And this game, for some reason, has me wondering, is there a Monster Hunter book? And if there was, would you read it?
You know what's funny? I mean, this is not like a self-promotion, but I was I wrote a book recently and I've been giving it to people to read, and someone commented on my first chapter something about how she seems like a monster hunter, and I
Wait,
just thought
what?
about that. Yeah.
I gotta read your book,
Not-
dude.
You said you're on page 20. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, would I read a Monster Hunter book that's exactly like the game? No. But I like the idea of a world set in hunting monsters. I just think it needs, like, there's not a lot of story in any of the Monster Hunter games, and the story that's there is pretty, like, cut and dry. But I think you could do really cool things with a similar world. Yeah.
Did you
So-
play any of Monster Hunter Stories?
A little bit. I didn't really like the gameplay, so I
Are
didn't
you
end
gonna
up going
play
very far.
2, Monster Hunter Stories 2?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get it, right?
Yes,
I
I like
might
that
try
game.
it. I think I would try it out.
Because that, I think, is almost like,
Did you beat the first one?
I'm not gonna say I got close. I played like a long time, but I don't know,
It wasn't that like engaging, right?
I
Like,
liked it.
Something
but
about it.
Yeah, I guess, you know what? I think it was hard to upgrade armors, like you didn't change.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't really remember it, but I enjoyed it for the time I played it.
Well, I hope
And
they
then I was done.
improve the second, so that way
Yeah.
you know.
It seems like the story's going to be like there's a Rathalos that's hatching, and is he going to be good or bad? Like,
A
but it's
devil or an
funny. It's
angel.
funny to be like in the trailer. It's like we're scared of the Rathalos. It's like we kill those all the time. Just call the hunters in. You know,
Right, but they are not. But they're isn't
they're
it
the
like a different
riders. They're a different.
clan
I
of
know,
like?
but they could get the hunters and they could bring them over. Like give them some.
But that would be against their morals.
True. But do you know if there's a Monster Hunter book, like an
I don't know.
official,
Like, no, I don't.
the
I'm not sure.
novelization
I'll
of
Google it
Monster
right
Hunter?
now because I'm curious.
I just feel like it's a series with such a long history and like very popular in some places and now across the world. That's like, well, you'd think they'd have a book by now.
Well, it
Is there a manga?
Monster Hunter books, but I think this is not connected to the games. But there's a Monster Hunter series by Larry Correia, but I don't
But not
think this has to do
related
with the
to the
games.
series Monster Hunter, just the same name. You're saying?
Yes.
Weird. But makes sense. It's just two very common words.
Yeah, right. So no, I don't think that there's like an official Monster Hunter book.
Interesting.
If Capcom wants to pay me, I'll write their Monster Hunter books. How about that? Let's see. Is there a Monster Hunter manga? I think so. But this still might not be connected to the games. Well, no, it is. It is because that's the same logo.
I would check
Monster
that out.
Hunter Orage 1.
Okay. Does it look cool?
No. All right, well.
So, before we wrap it up and give it a score, is there anything else you wanted to mention? Things we didn't get to discuss, really?
Well, I wanted to talk about what improved from Monster Hunter World that I like that they added in.
Mhm.
They added what are the bugs called again?
Wire bugs.
The wire bugs,
Yep.
which is a new way of moving, so you can fly around essentially and wall run, and it
Oh, how
really
did you-
helps for one
yeah.
of these heavier weapons, especially the one I'm using, so I can get out of the way in emergency situations, and I really enjoy that. So that definitely like is a great handicap in some ways for movement. And then they added the dogs, the palamutes, super cute, and you can ride them, and that's very fun. I still think the palico does more damage, so it's more useful in a co-op situation, but when you're alone, it's like good times, and they're just adorable. And then finally, the wyvern riding is very, very good. I really like that. At first I was like, what is this? During the tutorial. But when I figured out all the mechanics, I'm like the wyvern riding master, and I extremely enjoy it. And I plan most of the hunts around, okay, so that guy's over there, that guy's over there. I'm gonna bring another monster over here, ride that guy, and then launch him into this guy, so then I can ride that guy.
Hey, Grace?
Yeah, what's up?
That sounds a lot like strategy and tactics to me.
Well, yes, you're right. It's all in preparation. All right, fine, whatever, fine. Yes, but it's in preparation, okay? So what I'm trying to say is the wyvern riding is great because it also knocks hunter parts, monster parts off of the monsters. And if you know what you're doing, it's just really fun. It kind of reminds me of like being in a mech almost, like just like a bigger thing, and you have like a couple moves you can use, and then you have to kind of eject out. It's a great feature. So those are my 3 new favorite things that they added to the game that really make Monster Hunter Rise even better than World for me. As far as gameplay goes, like it really changes things up. So.
Yeah, it's way faster. It's way more vertical. The
maps
climbing
are-
allows you to climb anything within the map.
I
It's
do wish
great.
I hope they add more maps. It feels like the maps are a little, I don't know. I wish there was more maps. I wish they were more like weird. You know what I mean? Like I feel
hope-
like the maps are really. Do you remember that one map from World that was like very strange? Like the coral, and it was like, I don't know, it was really cool and it felt more fantasy-esque.
I think
that's what I want.
I'm worried, not worried, but I'm curious when like the DLC hits, will there be a new map? Will
Probably,
it just
right?
be will it be an ice world, Iceborne?
Either way, I feel like
What is it going to be when they expand this thing?
I feel like me wanting it isn't so much like I'm upset that it's not in there, but it's like I wish it was. You know what I mean? Like I'm not feeling like, oh, there needs to be more content.
I think the village is cooler than the other one.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
feel like I'm at home in a home village, whereas the
very
other one I
cute.
always felt like I'm at the dock, like I'm not really supposed to be here.
However, the pig is better than the Kahoot,
Pig is better than the Kahoot.
which is an owl.
Also, the home here so far has not expanded. Do you remember you could get a room in World that was like, eventually it was like a Greek palace?
Oh yeah, you could upgrade.
know?
You could upgrade your bedroom.
And you could put your bugs, you would capture bugs and put them in there.
Mm-hmm.
I miss that.
Oh yeah, I
I
remember
also
that.
miss the arena. You could capture a monster
Yeah.
out in the wild. Oh, wait, did we even say we haven't beaten it yet?
We haven't beaten it. There are we also didn't talk about the rampages at all, which
Oh, wow.
I do not
Jeez.
like.
I think the rampages are fine.
Sometimes they're fun, but most of the time I think they go too long and they stress me out.
Yes, you're right. I agree. But in the old one, you would capture the monster out on the hunt and then bring it home and then kill it in the arena. So you
Yeah.
basically got double parts.
But it was fun because there was a couple traps you could
The
use.
arena was a little different than the world. Yeah.
Like you could
And I
drop a
missed that.
big pile of rocks on them, and doing it every time, it was never not satisfying. I miss
why can't
I miss
the
dropping
rampage-
rocks on a guy.
Yeah, right. Why can't the rampage be a rampage of the guys we've caught? You know, something
Yeah.
like that. So you could do an all Rathalos rampage and get all Rathalos stuff.
That's a good
Something
idea.
like that. I don't know. That said, though, I don't think any of the missing stuff really makes me sad. It's just like you said.
Right,
I
right.
just wish it was there.
Right.
So let's rate this thing.
Yeah, I guess it's a triple S, but
It's a triple S for me.
you know, I'm saying essentially that's saying it's almost a perfect game. There's no such
Perfect.
thing as a perfect
It's
game.
not perfect.
There's no perfect game.
Nothing can
Craig.
be perfect, but it can be
Nothing's perfect.
the game I'm most excited to play, a game I've for the last month thought about, and for months before that dreamed about. You know, like
Well, that's
can't
all
wait till
irrelevant because it's all about what the game is to you now.
What I mean is, I was excited. It upheld.
It met your expectations.
It met my expectations. I am talking about it with people outside of it. I've bought the game for people. Like, it's just I really like this game.
Yeah, I think triple S is fair.
But so that said, it's not for everybody. Like,
Definitely not. And just like how I feel like our highest rated games end up being games that are so specific and not for everyone. Like Divinity is not for everyone. But I feel like if it's the kind of game that is for you, you're going to really like it and you'll probably know. But I
Right.
do feel if you haven't played Monster Hunter yet, this is a good game to start on as well. And it has a lot of things that will bring a new player in and help them, like the wire bugs and the dog. So,
But I think I'm curious, if you only play by yourself, will you have fun?
I think you will, but it's not even close to the amount of fun you'll have with other people. And this is
Yeah.
a co-op podcast. So when we give recommendations, we're talking about giving recommendations as a co-op game.
That's true. Good
We're
point.
recommending this as a co-op game.
Look at you, thinking about it.
I'm always thinking, bro. I'm always thinking.
Cool. Well, that about wraps it up for Monster Hunter Rise. We're going to go shut this down and play Monster Hunter Rise. But before we do that, we got to do a little stuff in the closing segment. Grace, do you have a buried treasure indie game highlight of the week, of the month you could tell me about?
I do.
And
I
this is-
do.
This is a game that's we may or may not play. We found it. It seems kind of interesting. Maybe it's not, but it seems like it is.
It seems it may be. This one's pretty low key, but I wanted to do something a little more casual since this game that we are talking about is so intense. You
Ooh,
know, I needed
that's a
something
cool
to
idea.
balance it. I just want you to know that I made that up just now.
That's really smart
But
of you.
I'm really good at making things up.
I like that. You know what? If we're playing a casual game, you got to find an intense one.
See,
Now the
what's
pressure's
funny
on.
is like sometimes I do the opposite where it's like, well, it goes together. Anyway, no matter what I do it right. That's how I live my life.
Wow.
So you're welcome, world. So this game is Disobedient Sheep, developed and published by Sickly Dove, and it's on Steam. It was released kind of early last year, around this time last year, actually, in April. It's a very simple concept. You play as 2 sheepdogs, or 4. It's 2 to 4 players, so it's a party game setup, and you herd sheep in a little party game. And you're sort of trying to dodge
That sounds
dynamite and
stressful.
rocks, and it's sort of like this top-down. It doesn't look stressful, it looks fun.
The idea, for some reason, sheep herding makes no sense to my brain. And so it's like, why would the sheep even go where the dog is running? I don't like.
They're scared, bro.
Just attack the dog.
So yeah, it looks fun. It looks like a co-op game that would be good for kids or for maybe non-gamers. Unlike Monster Hunter, this is a game that might be good for anybody, and it looks cute. I just like the idea of being two little sheepdogs, you know?
I mean,
I'm always
I wanna
attracted to
see it.
games where you can be a dog.
Did you ever play A Dog's Life, the dog RPG on PS2?
I know of it because of Giant Bomb. I did not play it.
Okay.
I know of it.
Seems like a great game. Seems like a very Craig game.
I thought you were going to say Grace game, and I was going to say no.
No, that's a Craig game. Where can they find out more about a sheep's life? What did you call it?
Disobedient sheep.
Disobedient sheep.
Well, I would say, honestly, the best thing you could probably do, since it's such a small game, it has only like a couple reviews, is go on Steam and type in Disobedient Sheep.
Cool.
There you go.
Awesome. I think now it's time for you to tell me where we can tell them where to find us on the internet.
You can find us at our website at savestogether.club, where we have links to our social media and all of our episodes. And you can also follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at savestogether for updates.
Thanks everybody for listening. This has been
Just want to say one last thing. Care about your planet.
What?
You know?
What spurred that?
I was just trying to think of one last thing to say.
You just want to say something actually like important to the world?
That was important.
Be kind and rewind.
And recycle. You don't need to rewind anymore. We've all the R's, the important R's, recycle, reuse, rewind. You can take that one out. That's one less thing you have to do for the planet.
It's reduce, reuse, recycle. Rewind has nothing to do with helping the planet. It's just about not being a dick to the next person who rents the video.
How can you just skewer my joke like that? That's so funny. The idea that
Wait, I thought you literally thought we were supposed to rewind plastic or something.
Oh my god.
Well, you don't know how VHS tapes work because you're a DVD
I thought
kid.
it was a funny idea. What the fuck?
I
had VHS tapes.
Name a
How dare
VHS
you?
tape. Name a VHS tape.
Fucking Rugrats. It was the orange one, and I loved
the
it.
Nickelodeon orange one. Everyone talks about that.
I just want everyone to know you don't need to appreciate how funny I am for me to be funny, and that's all that matters. Thank you. Make sure you reuse, recycle, and reduce your waste.
But also, recycling's a scam, and they don't do the things they say they do.
Cut this out. Cut this out.
So
cut
what
his
I'm
mic.
saying is,
Cut his mic.
So what I'm listen.